We are here with Maria Bostian from the Kannapolis Fire Department, and she is going to share the book Loud, Lula, and this is with permission from Two Lions. So I'm going to hand over the story time to her.
Perfect. Loud, Lula is one of my very favorite stories. It is by Katy S. Duffield, and like Jill already mentioned, it was published by Two Lions. So this is Loud, Lula. Lula was born smack dab in the middle of one of the biggest twisters Pryor County had ever seen. Winds howled, trees snapped. It was bust your eardrums loud. But it wasn't as loud as Lula. When Doc Clemens delivered Lula, she let out her first cry. Wow! That old storm sounded nothing more like a chicken feather hitting the henhouse floor. Lula spent her growing up years like most young'uns, except a lot louder. When she called her kitten for supper, every cat all the way from Crowley's Corner came a-calling. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty! Look at all those cats. And Lula wreaked 10 kinds of havoc when she moseyed into the public library. Got any books that'll turn over my tickle box? In the fall of her 5th year, Lula's pa said to Lula's mom, what are we gonna do about our loud Lula? Don't know, said Mom, but hollering won't be welcome at the schoolhouse. Look at her back there. Leaves! Ma and Pa walked Lula to school on that very first day. We love you, said Ma. Be good, said Pa. But what they really wanted to say was, be quiet. Bye, Mom. Bye, Pa. There goes old Lula. Lula's teacher welcomed her students. How do you do, Miss Isabel? Said Jenny Sue. When's recess? Asked Joe Bob. Then Lula raised her hand. Where's the bathroom? Lula's ear-splitting question had the whole schoolhouse shaken like a big old bowl of boysenberry jelly. Whew. When the dust finally settled, Miss Isabel said, Lula, in the schoolhouse, we use our inside voice. During math, Jenny Sue began counting 1. Joe Bob followed with 2. And then it was Lula's turn. 3! Lula's earth-shattering shout sloshed every last speck of water out of the fishbowl. Slither, the class snake, jiggled right out of his skin. Lula, Miss Isabel said, please remember to use your inside voice, the kids cried. Look at old Slither's snake skin right there. And look at the fish. This is one of my favorites. So Slither is right up here on top of the boy's head. And then the little girl's holding the fish. Probably my favorite picture. That afternoon, Miss Isabel was plumb tuckered out. Whew, let's have a short, quiet time. The other students were tuckered out too, but not Lula. She felt as spry as a spring chicken. Right there she is dancing on top of her desk now. She is reading. She's reading a book called How to Be Quiet. Suddenly, Lula caught sight of something outside the window. It grew bigger and bigger, and it moved closer and closer. Lula had to tell somebody. And for the first time, she wondered, reckon I ought to use my inside voice. So she did. Lula hollered in her inside voice, which wasn't too different from her outside voice. Fire! Yonder comes a big old fire! Whew! Lula's voice romped through the town. It echoed in the hills, and it stretched its loudness across 5 counties, alerting a heap of fire trucks. Fire! It's a big old fire! The way some folks tell it, those firefighters didn't even have to pull out their hoses. Lula's rip-roaring holler ran that old wildfire back across the hills. From that day on, Lula became more famous than Granny Shelby's finger-licking peach cobbler, more famous even than old Wally Hubbard's coon dog and her 23 puppies, and no one ever complained about Lula's hollering again. Well, not too often anyway. Extra, extra! Read all about it! There's Lula selling newspapers of the Pryor County Gazette. And looky there, that's what's on the front page. It says, little gal with a big old voice saves the town. Now, how did Lula save the town? She used her outside voice or her inside voice to alert people to a fire. But is that how we get help here in Kannapolis and in surrounding communities? We don't have to stand and holler and yell, fire! Here comes a big old fire! No, Lula, that was a good book, but that one is fictitious or made up. That's not how we get help. We get help by calling our emergency number, which is 911. That's right here in Kannapolis and surrounding communities, if you need help from police officers or firefighters or the paramedics that ride on the ambulance, 911 is the emergency number that we use right here in our community. So I'll put that right there so that I'll help you remember that. Now, some of you had a chance to download some papers. One of them may look, excuse me while I stretch, one of them may look a little bit like this. It's a report, an emergency activity. And so today we're going to be looking at some pictures here. And if you haven't already, you can go ahead and start cutting those out because we're going to be sorting them. Or if you don't want to cut them out, you could probably use a crayon or marker or pencil and draw arrows to the spaces too. So however you want to do it. I've cut mine out. But on the right-hand column, we're going to identify emergencies. And it says, I need to call, and for this one, it says the fire department. But we know when we call 911, we can get up to 3 different community helpers, police officers, firefighters, and paramedics that ride on the ambulance. So this one's for emergencies, the right hand, and on the left hand, it says not an emergency. I can solve this problem myself or with help from a grown-up. So this is the sheet that we're going to use, and I've already kind of pre-cut out my little answers here. So I've got my sheet, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line them up kind of based on how they are here on the sheet. All right, so the very first one on the right, either you've cut it out or you've got your finger pointing to it, is a house on fire. So let's think about that. Do you think, and Miss Jill, do we want to see if friends want to answer?
Yeah,
We could certainly involve them. Does anybody want to tell me, does it go over here on the right side with emergency? Or does it go on the left side, not an emergency? Does anybody want to tell us that?
and if you have your answer and you want to type it, you can type it in the chat or the question and answer box. Or if you want to raise your hand on Zoom, I can unmute your mic and you can say it like that. And that is the house on fire. Is
House
this
on fire.
an emergency or not an emergency?
Emergency or not?
So we have a chat, and this is from Anonymous. They say that it is an emergency.
Perfect. I totally agree. So I'm going to glue that one. And if you are using your pen, I'm just going to draw a line from emergency right here to the first square. So you could have answered, or you might have another creative way that you could answer that. All right. The next picture is little boy, and it looks like he's got a cough or a sneeze. Let's say it's a sneeze. Is that an emergency or something he or a grown-up can solve? He had a sneezing fit. Ooh, maybe he sniffed too much pepper when he was trying to make a recipe or something like that.
And we have two answers, and both of them say not an emergency.
I totally agree. So I'm going to put that one, I'm going to glue that one here, and with my pen, I'm going to draw up to here. How's that look, folks? So far, so good? All right. Ooh, this gentleman has fallen down. Wonder if he fell on I don't know, down the steps maybe, or off the porch. What do we think about that one? Anybody have any ideas?
We have one that says emergency.
I agree. Falls greater than 5 feet are emergencies. He might have fallen off a ladder, fallen down a tree. If anyone ever falls like that, they could have a body part that's injured, a muscle that's injured. So you can call for help. I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to draw this one. I'm going to park him right there. So we've got filling our chart quite nicely. Let's see. What's this next picture? What do you think that might be? Maybe the little boy got hit with a ball, maybe the softball. He's kind of holding his head. So I'm thinking the little boy. Let's go through these. We've got 3 more. We've got the little boy with the ball. Ooh, a robot toy with a broken leg. And, oh my goodness, look at that little girl's face. She is mad or frustrated or sad with a grown-up. Maybe she asked if she could come over and play at my house. And Dad said, no, I really need you to help me cook dinner. We told Mom we'd have dinner. Maybe that's what happened. So now that we know what the last 3 cards are, that kind of helps us with where they might go. So the little boy looks like maybe he got hit in the head at baseball practice. Problem or an emergency? Does anybody have a guess?
So we had one person with their hand raised. I'm going to allow them to talk.
Perfect.
Let's see if, this is Ansley. Let's see
Hey,
if we
Ansley.
can hear her talking.
I think it's an
Have
emergency.
the answer, is this an emergency or not an emergency?
I think it's an emergency.
Oh, go ahead one more time.
I think it's an emergency.
Yes,
Yay.
I totally agree.
Good job, Ansley.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm going to go ahead and mute you again, but if you want to talk again, just raise your hand and we will unmute you.
Boy with the ball. All right, so that leaves us with a broken leg and a disagreement with a grown-up. So the only two places that are left are in the not an emergency. Now this one, while we are fixing our papers, I want to go over this one because our telecommunicators here in Kannapolis actually work for our police department, and they've gotten calls. They're mad at, I'm mad at my mom because she won't let me go spend the night with a friend or something like that. We've even gotten calls before, like maybe mom will say, I know you know that math homework, go do your homework. We've even gotten calls for 911 wanting help with math homework. All right, I think I've included my spaces, and then I need to mark my answers right here. And right here. All right, how'd I do? How did you do? All right, we've done that page. So now we know the difference between a problem and an emergency. And one of the things that we also sent you with are some of these cards. And this is a great way. I just cut these and you can see they're not perfect, but these cards are just another way that you can practice talking about the difference between problems and emergencies with these cards. This would be a good activity if you're going to be in the car for a while, maybe going to a vacation spot, or you're taking a trip to the lake, or even just across town to the grocery store or to get something from the pharmacy. You might have these. This one says, my babysitter is sneezing. What do you think? Problem or emergency? Probably problem. Ooh. But then this one says, my grandpa fell off a chair and can't get up. That one might be an emergency. Let's see what another. Ooh, my friend can't breathe. Problem. So you can sort these. You could make your own sorting emergency, not an emergency, or emergency, problem. You could spread these out on a table or floor and make your own grid like we did, or you could just use them like I was using them and just go through them one at a time. So I hope you like those too. But before we go, we have one more thing we want to do. Now we know when to call 911, but do you know what to say or what to do? So that's the second step. So let's talk about that.
And we do have one question.
Sure.
Someone says, can I get in trouble for calling 911?
So let's talk about that. And that's a great question, and I'm glad you asked. So if a child calls 911, or even an adult calls 911, and let's say they hang up. They go, oh, I know I'm not supposed to do that, so I'm gonna hang up. Guess what? Those telecommunicators know the number that you called on. So they're gonna call it right back. So the telecommunicator calls back. If no one answers, they have to assume that there's an emergency there. They have to assume that there's a problem that needs help from police, fire, or the paramedics. So they will send a police officer to that address to check. So the best thing to do, if you ever absolutely call 911 and it's a joke or a prank, just own up to it. Say, I just really wanted to know if you were here. I just wanted to see if somebody was answering. I just wanted to test 911. I don't recommend doing that, but by all means, don't hang up. And when they call back, don't not answer, because then they will send the police officer. If someone calls over and over and over and over again, making up fake reasons to get the police, the fire, or the paramedics, yes, they could get in trouble. Most often, if they just call once, the telecommunicator is going to say, hey, we're here, but we're here for true emergencies. So we need to keep these lines clear for people that have real emergencies that need help. I hope that helps you understand a little bit better about that. You won't get in trouble for calling once, maybe twice, but if it happens over and over and over and over and over again, then someone probably is going to be calling or coming to the home wanting to know, hey, why does this keep happening? All right, so we've got another, I wanted to show you in your packet, you should have an answer key. So let's look. So we did do ours right. We had the 3 emergencies and the 3 problems for non-emergencies. So I'll throw that over here. And the last thing is, what do you say if you do have to call? So let's say that you look out the window and the neighbor's house is on fire. Oh my goodness, that is definitely an emergency. We need to find the phone and call 911. So what do? Do I call my community fire department? Yes. What number do I call? Do you remember? 911. Some families may already have that number saved on their phone or on their cell phone. But remember, we call 911. What type of emergency is it? That's going to be the next thing. When we get on the phone, the very first thing we're going to say, actually, for us in Kannapolis, the very first thing I would say was, I'm in Kannapolis. Because of all the cell phones around, sometimes if we're in the northern end, let's say we go up to Little Caesars or up to the Dollar Tree, it's up the northern end of Kannapolis, sometimes our phone may actually call Rowan County Sheriff's Office. They're 911. If we go ahead and say, hey, I'm in Kannapolis, they can very quickly transfer us over. Just with the punch of a button, they can transfer us, and we'll be talking to people in the dispatch office right here at City Hall. Then I want to say what type of emergency it is. So again, we're pretending like the neighbor's house is on fire. So I would say, I'm in Kannapolis, help, my neighbor across the street, their house is on fire. So tell them the emergency. Then I say my name. They're going to say, well, who's calling? Oh, my name's Maria. My name's Maria, and I'm looking out the window, and I see that my neighbor's house is on fire. And then they're going to ask if I know where I am. Do you know your address? Yes, I'm at 401 Marriott Way. If you don't know your house number, you might say, hey, I don't remember my house number, but I live on Pine Street. Or I live over on Jackson Street, across from the church. So if you don't exactly know your address, you might be able to give them some landmarks too. And then they might ask you the number that you're calling from, the telephone number. Do you know that telephone number? Do you know your home telephone number? Or do you know mom's cell phone number that you're calling from? Give them that information as well. And then one of the most important things is to wait and stay on the phone until they tell you to hang up. Because they're going to ask some questions. And so what they're doing, they might ask you, they might say, Maria, okay, your neighbor's house is on fire. Do you see any of your neighbors? And you're like, no, I don't see anybody yet. Okay, stay on the phone with me, stay right there. I'm going to ask you that question in a few minutes. They might ask another, where do you see the fire? Do you see any fire? Yes, I see fire. Where's the fire? The fire is coming from the garage. Okay, do you see anyone by the garage? No, I don't see anyone there, but I see the fire. Okay, do you see people now? Do you see your neighbors? Yes, I see them now. They're all in the front yard. And do you know what's happening? They're asking us questions, and while we're giving them the answers, they are sending them to the computers on the fire trucks. So the firefighters are not at the fire yet, but through our answers, they're already thinking about what they're going to do when they get to that fire. If the people are out in the front yard, they might not have to rescue anybody. They're still going to ask when they get there. They're already thinking, maybe I can go to step 2. Maybe I can go ahead and start fighting the fire. I've already told them, we've already said it's coming from the garage. So now in their minds, they know a place that it started. They're still going to make their lap around the building, but now they've got information that they wouldn't have if we had just hung up the phone. So always stay on the phone until the dispatcher or telecommunicator tells us to hang up. So that's just a little sheet for you. That's a great checklist for emergencies. So moms and dads and babysitters and nannies and friends out there, if you don't already, I would love for you to put the 911 number somewhere that everyone can see it, maybe a magnet on the refrigerator or something. Because sometimes in a panic, our brain kind of goes to sleep. And even though it's a real simple number, sometimes we forget. But this would be a great thing to have somewhere, and this checklist also. Or even a card, maybe a card with these questions already answered. Maybe it doesn't, maybe it just says my emergency is blank, and then the type of emergency, the name, the address, the phone number, and then a reminder to stay on the phone until the telecommunicator says to hang up. And then there's Sparky the fire dog saying, good job, everybody. We did a good job. All righty. Well, I hope you enjoyed Loud Lula today. Again, it's one of my very favorite books. I think it's because I get to use my Southern accent with that book, but I do love Loud Lula. I hope you did too. And I hope you enjoyed our lesson today. Does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask? Or maybe even any really short stories pertaining to calling for help or seeing the firefighters come to your assistance or something like that?
And if you have any questions or comments, you can put them in the chat box or the question and answer, or you can raise your hand and I'll be happy to unmute you and let you talk just like we did a little bit earlier. I'm going to give everyone a few seconds.
Sure. Sometimes it takes a while. I really like the question that we had earlier, can you get in trouble for calling 911? And remember, the long answer is yes. Children and even grown-ups, if they call 911 over and over again or make up stories that aren't real and put our firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in danger, they can't get in trouble.
We just have one chat so far,
Sure.
and they said, thank you for telling us how to call 911.
Well, thank you. You're very, very welcome. I appreciate that compliment.
All right, and if nobody else has anything, we will go ahead and sign off.
All right. Let me tell you, if you have a question later in the day, maybe, you could, I think this will be on YouTube. And you can watch it again, or if you do have any questions, let me give you a telephone number, and that way you can get in touch with me. It's 704-920-4260. That's the number for the Kannapolis Fire Department. And if you think of a question later, all you need to do is call that number, leave your name and number, or name an email address so that I can call you back or email you and answer your question.
And if you would like to share any of your pictures of you doing these Sparky activities, or if you check out Loud Lula from the library and you want to show us you reading the book, you can send those to parks@kannapolisnc.gov. And we would love to see those photos of you enjoying our activities or reading the book.
And if you want to hear Loud Lula again, I have it on my YouTube channel, which is just Maria Bostian. So you can read it there. All right, well, let us know. Share those pictures or little photos of you or videos of you reading. We'd love to see that.
All right, bye,
Happy
everyone.
Wednesday, everybody. Bye-bye.